the Rogue Invitational, where some of the fittest athletes on the planet gather together to push their limits, push the limits of what's possible in CrossFit as a sport. The Rogue Invitational 2024 is just around the corner, and I mean literally, if like me you're UK based, as this year the event is coming to Scotland. So before I set off on an epic 9.5-hour drive to get there, I thought it would be fun to dive into some of the most epic moments from Rogue Invitationals of years gone by. So let's dive in. Rogue is known for being the heavy CrossFit competition of the year. So there's no better place to start than with some big lifts. And if it's shifting tin that we're talking about, then there's also no better place to go than to your boy Gui Malheiros. Back in 2021, Gui was busy making a name for himself as an explosive Olympic lifting specialist in the CrossFit world, thanks to his impressive win in the Games, the Max Snatch event. And not only was Gui the overall winner of that, but he made it look easy. So all eyes were on him come Rogue when a max lift complex was programmed for the second workout. Obviously, Gui won, but what was truly remarkable was the manner in which he did it. This time, he only utilised 2 of the 3 lifts allotted to him in order to claim the top spot over Jeffrey Adler. Sticking with heavy lifts, the 2023 Rogue Invitational featured a 1RM deadlift to separate the men from the boys and the women from the girls. The winners on both the male and the female side absolutely put on a show. The whole event was a war of attrition. After the fact, lots of commentators derided the number of lifts that each athlete had to complete, but on the night that didn't matter, as Alex Gazan and Chandler Smith came out on top. Gazan had been touted as a strong girl with clips going viral on Instagram of her insane bench press abilities, but this was another level, as she beat Tia and Laura and Danny Speegle, eventually lifting 425 pounds or 193 kilograms. On the men's side, Chandler Smith came out on top. And knowing that all the attention was on him, he decided to go for one more lift, even when he was the sole remaining competitor. The event was already won, it was in the bag, but he went for and hit 610 pounds, 277 kilograms. It was a long event, but it was most certainly epic. Now, banter forms a pretty large part of British sporting culture. I often think that the main reason people compete or support sports is just for this opportunity to talk smack. And although that sort of trash talk is on the increase in CrossFit, it's been in short supply over the years, with competitors choosing to be more respectful with their comments, clapping one another across the finish line. But one memorable moment from Rogues Gone By had smack talk written all over it. Khrennikov called out the rest of the field having dominated on DT Echo. During his winner's interview after the event, he casually joked that he could go unbroken on all the DT elements because his opponent's sprint pace on the bike was simply his recovery pace.
So he told his coach this, on a DT he'll go unbroken and fast, and on a bike he's gonna go in his recovery pace, which is most of the athletes' working pace. So
it is a shame we haven't really seen a fully fit Roman since 2021, because if his fitness matched his bants, he'd be right up there with the best of them. Next, I don't want to focus on an event or a moment, but a pair of moments. Cue up event 10 of 2022, and Vellner is sitting pretty and looking nailed on to win back-to-back Rogues. But he pulls a Fikowski, kicks up too soon and no reps, and then no reps again. He finished 10th in the event, failed to even make the podium. Turns out it wasn't an epic moment, but an epic fail. Give the guy a break, at least it came at the end of a competition rather than taking an L on the first day. You see, had Vellner been able to complete the last 5 clean and jerks without failing, there was a very good chance he would have been on top of the podium come Sunday night. He would have received a massive $218,000 payout for taking first place. But after sliding down to 4th overall, Vellner received only $30,500. He wasn't fazed by it though, and on social media soon afterwards he quoted JFK saying this: "Only those who dare to fail miserably can achieve greatly." Now fast forward 1 year and no surprises, Patty V is right in the mix again. By the time the final event rolls around this time, he's not trailing 2-time fittest on earth Justin Medeiros, he's 65 points ahead of the newly crowned CrossFit Games champion Jeff Adler. Now 65 points seems like an insurmountable total, but remember, this year it was a wheelhouse workout for Adler, and yes, it finished with more clean and jerks. The very movement that had undone Vellner 12 months prior. Adler, of course, won the event, crossed the line, while Vellner still had 3 reps left to go. How long would they take, Uncle Pat? Would he be able to do them all unbroken? How many athletes would get between him and Adler's time? To make things really dramatic, Vellner failed his very final rep, failing to lock out the jerk portion of the clean and jerk. And lots of athletes' times were now filtering in, and Vellner had to avoid finishing lower than 13th to take the Invitational title home. In the end, that no rep cost Vellner 18 seconds. 5 spots on the leaderboard in that event, but it was good enough for him to finish 10th, which earned him that sweet, sweet belt and a chonky check to take home. Who doesn't love a Paddy V victory? Over the years, sprint events have become a staple of the Rogue Invitational. Bracket-style events where athletes would be eliminated and the remaining competitors would complete the same workout again before another elimination and so on. They are very dramatic, but over the years they've been somewhat plagued by judging standards and decisions and movements which, when performed at a sprint speed, sort of take away from the spectacle. The 2023 sprint, Dual 3, however, was programmed to foresee these sorts of issues and lived up to the hype. On both the men's and the women's sides, we saw incredible performances and tremendously tight finishes, eventually concluding with Hopper edging out Fikowski and Speegle edging out Horvath. Both of those margins of victory were less than half a second between them. Here's hoping that they can recreate something of that drama with Dual 4 this year in Scotland, perhaps. Now let's finish up with a Rogue highlight that has nothing to do with max weight or sprint finishes or sporting achievement at all, really. This is just a straight up celebration of someone who immediately springs to mind when you think Rogue. Mr. Rogue himself, Chandler Smith. In 2023, the whole weekend was affected by poor weather, some events being heavily impacted, adjusted, and the finale even brought indoors. But event 7, Hull Cans, was completed under the very drizzly Texan skies. And a few of the men decided that instead of running back down the hill at the halfway point in the event, they'd simply sit on their bottoms and slide. Now, Chandler Smith wasn't the first to decide to do this, but footage of Smith sliding down in style started doing the rounds on Instagram, and it quickly became one of the defining images of the whole weekend. So there you have it. These are some of my most favourite, most memorable moments from the Rogue Invitational. What will they have in store for us in Aberdeen in 2024? I can't wait to find out, this time in person. But why not, as you're liking and subscribing to the channel, why don't you drop a comment and refresh our memories? Are there other epic moments that I've forgotten about? Is there something better that has happened at Rogue that hasn't been mentioned in this video? Hit it up in the comments and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.